to go over my Wonderland of Horror show, the bemusal, the wonderment that was my former State Board of Higher Education policy wonk, ghostwriter extraordinaire for all things higher ed, super double deluxe TI, getting worked over by folks that do torture. Just walking around in a daze on the internet, fucking beat up, sometimes drinking and writing. Ooh, shouldn't have been torturing me. It's another satanic misdirect from the war crimes. Anyhow, so writing for the higher ed stuff, occasionally Blue Oregon, did a lot of stuff on Facebook. Gang stalked then. Life cut short, or stunted, my full potential unrealized. Purposely disabled by intel outfits as simultaneous troop deployments happened in the Middle East. Our pride, our joy, our people's children, like my father's son, taken from their homes, campuses, girlfriends, boyfriends, and whoop, over into the sands for conflict that too often ended in death or disabled themselves, and then back here on SSI, like I am. Saw a few of those guys along the way showing up to a disability outlet in Oregon for people cut down in their youth, like I was. So, at 40 and a political dissident, 15 years at TI, so misled, thought it was mental illness most of the time. Yeah, just to reiterate maybe one of my previous videos, I underestimated the intelligence outfit functions of the world. By that I mean torturers in the CIA and their counterparts in other governments everywhere. Whoa! I mean, with the way the world is today and the surveillance economy and stuff, like, first of all, I wouldn't have a kid. I'd probably make my kid a TI also. Second of all, I wouldn't let him study politics or public administration. Unless he got a degree in, like, military science at the same time. Or, like, counter-espionage. He would have to have, like, some serious curriculum and expertise in navigating your life, liberty, and happiness in the deep state if you're trying to solve other people's problems. It would have to be a co-occurring curriculum for anybody working in public affairs. In the information age, the internet being 30, I have people looking out my fucking eyeballs, passed out on machines, sending zip-zap shots to my eyeballs or piggity pokes in my leg, thinking they're all fucking shits and giggles, like, so much snickerdoodle, like, enjoying the suffering of other people. For 15 years, I've been broadcast in one way, shape, or form for the bemusal and wonderment and joy and torture of people sitting around on their cell phones getting updates from their community-based agent or some shapeshifter guy passed out on a machine in another location, and destroying the human condition, the value of human life, and so much fucking neurolinguistic programming that was used on me. My eye socket kind of hurts right now. In brainwashing and trauma-based mind control, one of the most effective or tried tactic is repetition. This perp gang that invaded and really started beating me up from the Fusion Titan Center likely in like 2016, like black helicopters over the house, skinwalkers, roommates getting replaced, gassing in the house, design homelessness, then faked federal agents from EMF Perpetopolis, um, the invasion of 2016. What was all the components that I wanted to go in over that? I ended up in a hospital, an outpatient facility, bit and chewed hard on a satanic misdirect from a former roommate who had a similar name. And they were just faking his form. It was this 5,000 people that could be anybody they want, or the 1,600 or 2,500, then the flesh and blood ones backed up by them. The deep capture street theater around the state. Thank you. It was hard for me to notice to say thank you to even some of the defense I got from like local law enforcement that saw this stuff coming too, and this churning mass of humanity with these headsets and reading off talking points they get from an update system that has corrupted files in it to begin with that I shouldn't have been in, nor my family, nor way too many Americans. Like, anyways, very intense. And it didn't matter the size, all of Portland State got deep captured when I went back to school. I ended up getting kicked out on ginned up false complaints that are characteristic of perpetrating. Gang stalkers trying to be tough, faking that they were toids, and these motherfuckers are passed out in their mom's basement, and by that I mean state-sponsored terrorists from the federal government overreach of, we just turned off the federal government for the longest time in history, and in part the targeted individual system was reason for that. I've suffered a life worse than death. My family's relationships will probably never be the same and have been tactically strained 24 hours a day for 15 years. My government's not the first government to drive political dissidents crazy, and it won't be the last. I have no constitution, I have no Bill of Rights, and I lost control of my own mind and body 15 years ago covertly, and it's never stopped hurting. Thank you to Portland and Oregon, and for those that were responsive to defend a community member. Like, part of what they were trying to into targeted individual targeted audience for maximum Zugstrig value from the police state. They really wanted members of my community to participate in stuff like a covert designed death of a fellow citizen. Historical examples of city-states or civilizations in the past where that had been something of a public spectacle would have been thought to be much more brutish, primitive, and unkind. I'm glad none of that was successful, and the weaponization of humor in all of these psychological operations is extremely deadly. So I forget. However, the calculated reaction to the torture we undergo, so embarrassing, dudes don't like want to talk about it, but it's important that we do to try and discourage the behavior. Like, stop trying to set up a TI for federal crime he doesn't commit, or make excuses for the endless perp or ginned up conflicts that wouldn't have taken place otherwise to fit a storyline that's so distorted. Like, you're not all going to be able to pass out and spend the rest of your days in the EMF. We all get old, we get sick, we die. I'm 40. I'd like to make it like 60 or 70. And the next 20 years without my Constitution, Bill of Rights, home protection, protecting my mind and body from these synthetic telepathy gangs. Like, I can't own a shotgun, but I should be able to own my mind and body again and pull it back from the torture that is weaponized against me from illegal sender relationships from state-sponsored terrorists. The same people that put a missile wrapped in a blue beam plane through September 11th to slingshot all of our youth, all of our pride and joy in our families, and the treasure in the machines in the Middle East. That same shit is being used against me, a citizen, in 2019, September 1st. In 10 days, September the 11th hit with that false flag. And yo, I just saw a blue beam truck down the fucking road in my town with the wrong color and not quite me. So many mimics. It's not all of it satanic. So I think some of those codings were trying to keep me obscure. So not everybody that likes things they say or do, or maybe picks up on me as a receiver and doesn't use it against me, is satanic. Those that pick up on me as a receiver and specifically use it against me, that's Satanism. And they only get rewarded, and secretly there's no consequence. So, and there's memory wipes to the moon. So my plan's an evac, and it's so difficult holding on to that information before getting polluted by these systems. My info is like 36 years old now on how to get out of the reincarnation system at the moon, corroborated along the way. So I'm an Arhoot. Trying not to incarnate. And I'm really embarrassed and worried about the international synthetic telepathy agenda and shit I can't control or even tackle or even stop for myself, like human trafficking of me from the EMF and like is there a Northwest accent? Anybody? Like, I probably will get my face can be made itchy. Probably get my comments deleted from like nice other TI that would want to reach out to me before I can even hear back from them. But I probably don't have like a Northwest accent or anything like that. But I was sort of curious for maybe. It'd be fun for me maybe along the way to hear somebody from the southern part of America do their impression of a Yankee. And the fun and camaraderie that would not happen with that with somebody who's got a good southern accent but an impression of somebody from the north. And it may seem it's deceptively oversimplified, the world getting shrunk with the internet and this EMF shit and travel and whatnot. It's still extremely, extremely, extremely complicated. And they may have betrayed me, but I'm an American first. And for some of this stuff, I'm so outmatched. Like, I really don't know who of the 5,000 perps that are still after me dead for lie reasons. Like, is that guy from China? I don't. I don't. And that's how that shit is.